back in session as the Board of County Commissioners. Motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we enter into the Board of Equalization.
Have a motion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Looks like our first one is Richard Carroll.
Oh, good old Dick.
There's 2 properties, and this is an administrative. We'll go ahead and turn some time over to the assessor's office.
Thank you. We'd like to first address the building on partial RP POC 277600. This is the building known as the Yellowstone Hotel, located at 230 West Bonneville. The appellant reached out to us a little bit before assessment drive and had concerns about last year's value. We went out to the property and we met with him, and we worked to clear up an initial misunderstanding when the appellant saw improvements listed at $500,000. It was his understanding that we were claiming he had invested $500,000 into the building. And so we worked to kind of explain how land and improvements are described on any particular parcel. I think we made some headway there. Mr. Carroll also took us on a tour of the entire building. The main floor has been completely renovated. It's currently housing 3 different businesses in it. And the second, third, and fourth floors have been gutted down to the studs. Plumbing, electrical, HVAC has all been removed. When we did a workup of the property after we returned to the office, we had agreed that we would accurately represent the condition of all of that. For those upper floors, we decided that we are just going to leave the value on for the external walls only. And the bulk of the value actually rests in the main floor. They've done a beautiful restoration. It's currently leased at 100% occupancy on that main floor. So when we took a look at the rates per square feet, looking at other restaurants, other bars, that kind of stuff that is a similar business, we found this one to be, for the most part, at the lower end of those per square foot costs in regards to the actual value. So when we made the adjustments primarily to the upper floors, it lowered the assessed value to $717,992. The appellant felt that the building and land in total could not be worth more than $500,000, but when we looked at everything, honestly, we feel we're probably a little bit on the low end, but we were at least comfortable for now with where we have the value. We've been inside. It may require further work down the road to get it dialed in a little bit tighter, but we feel it's quite accurate right now.
How many square feet on each one of those stories? They're all the same, but what's the square footage?
So let me just go over here. The second, third, and fourth floors have a little bit smaller footprint than the main floor. Okay.
About 5,200 square feet.
37,632 for the total building. So main floor and basement are both 8,400 square feet. Second, third, and fourth floors are each 6,944 square feet.
Yeah, it's so it's, what is that, 6,900? I mean, the thing is even though those floors, I've been in there, I've actually gotten the floor and walked through the upper floors, and they are torn to the studs. And just because it's torn to the studs isn't necessarily a bad thing, because if you're going to sell, lease, do something, they're gonna go in and they're gonna redo that. That's gonna be part of your leasing stuff. Actually, you've just mitigated the cost of demolition. So you would still have, I mean, even if you put a value of $10 a square foot or $5, I mean, at $10 a square foot, you're at $62,000 per floor on the upper floor. I mean, there is value in that building, and that is one of the largest buildings in Bannock County that way that people would be looking for. So I don't think that the value that you came to at the 770 whatever, I don't think it's out of line. I mean, it might be a little high, but it might be a little low. I mean, really, you're starting to get into that realm of what is there any other buildings that you have for comparable, anything that large that is sold or that old that is sold or that you know of that way?
The only recent one in Old Town, it's difficult. The only one that has recently sold that's in the ballpark of total square footage is Valentine Building.
Yes.
And you know that one, it's larger by floor, but it's only 2 stories.
Yeah. How much did the Valentine Building end up selling for?
That one, I believe, sold for in the ballpark of $375
For 2 floors. And its floors were corrected, but so if you have the square, I mean, what was the square footage then of the going rate? I mean, the Valentine Building, very easy to say, okay, 2 floors, how much, 150 grand a floor, how many square feet per floor, what's its, and I bet that it's probably going to be a lot higher than, I bet it's probably 20, 25 bucks a square foot, probably what it's going to be. So, I mean, like I said, I don't necessarily think it's out of, and you're right, the Yellowstone restaurant, Union Tap Room, all that stuff, that's all modern, that's all been brought to code. It had to be brought to code for it to be used. So I don't know why we would punish or take away value off of that floor just because there's nothing functionally incorrect with that floor, is there?
No, we couldn't find any deficiencies in there. When we met on site and the appellant spoke about how much money he had to invest in the property, you know, our explanation was that when you do that, you are actually increasing the value of the property. You know, that, like we said, there's 3 separate businesses in there. That main floor is at 100% occupancy. And it is, you know, due to their hard work, they've done a beautiful restoration there.
So, like I said, typically a lot of times on those leasing or what it's worth, if you're looking at it sales, on the sell side for those floors that are torn out, you're probably still looking 20 to 50 bucks a foot. I mean, so I don't think it's outside of its.
So I just, myself, just in my mind, thinking, if it was just the first floor, what would your estimate be on it? I mean, to me, it's gotta be around 400 to 500,000 just for the one floor.
And I think that's what they said. And my computer just did a little deaf.
Just the main floor, not counting the basement or the upper floor, building itself, $410,000 just for that main floor.
Yeah.
And so then we took a look at, well, if we're giving that value to the main floor for the types of businesses that are in there, what's that per square foot versus other restaurants and bars just in the Old Town area and you know, just across the tracks in the First Street area. It's certainly the nicest of any of those buildings, and even then, it's still on the lower end on a per square foot basis.
Well, and again, that's where I come back and say, I don't have I'm not seeing a glaring problem of why it shouldn't be that. Now, again, there's always the subjectiveness of arguing, you know, this or you know, the upper torn out floors, but there is still value on those floors, and I think where you're looking at, you guys have given it less than $10 a foot, you're about $7 a foot on a leasing value coming out of it, or, you know, of a total value there, which I actually think if you were to sell that building probably would go higher than $700,000.
So here on this first page, where you have the values, and you come to a total of $667,592, and then what else did you add on to there?
Just the land. So that would be for the structure itself.
Structure only. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. My computer, though, I do have a problem with it. It did the spinning wheel of death and the battery died. I think my battery just failed. Mr. Chairman, I move that for parcel RPRPPOC 277600,
This is their suggestion.
their suggestion, do we take the assessor's suggestion of $717,992?
Have a motion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye. What's that? 717, what was the last? Yeah, my computer just shut down. I don't know why it's not.
717992. Okay. Next.
The other parcel in this appeal is the RPRP POC 290,900, owned by also the appellant, Mr. Carroll, and also Charles Ray Smith, located at 150 South Arthur, commonly known as the old Dudley's building.
Oh, no, it's the
Used to
old
be the
federal building.
Yeah, the old U.S. Post Office and Federal Building.
Yeah.
So when we reviewed that property, we completed the commercial conversion on that into our ProVal system this year. And when we take a look at the building and what happened to the value, we look to quantify what happened. When we look at the building in general, it is one of the, again, similar to the Yellowstone, it's one of the largest buildings we have. It's 41,000 square feet. And when we look at the effective age of the building on the commercial side, we look at how much remaining economic life it has. With this one, we haven't been able to go inside yet, so we haven't been able to make an accurate determination. So when we don't have that, we have simply left the building to its actual constructed age of 1915. Additionally, we applied some economic obsolescence to the building, where our records indicate the upper office floors, or the upper floors are all offices. We don't know any vacancy rates, so we did apply some extra obsolescence there. So currently the building is being depreciated at 90.3%. So it's only being valued at 9.7% of its calculated value. That factors in all depreciation of age. When we looked at the assessment going up 57% above last year, we feel that, that's a combination of being converted into our ProVal system, and very likely looking back, it's been undervalued for quite some time. The parcel had only appreciated 3.14% in the previous 20 years. So when we
The
look
land
at
did?
the entire parcel, the land and the building.
Nothing's happened.
So before we completed this conversion, there was only a 3% rise in the course of 2 decades.
Go back 2 years and add the problem is on these buildings is I don't know how they've been able to keep them from not moving, but those buildings are worth more than what they're claiming. And I hate to say this, but whatever agreement or whatever people that they've come in and made a handshake deal with, that's not right. We just agree. The Yellowstone is sitting at 750. The basements or the first floor is finished. The old Dudley's building is not to the level of finish that the Yellowstone is, but it's much nicer than the upper floors. The federal building's what, 35,000 square feet?
41.
41? So you'd have to save more than $10 a square foot, and it's probably not 50, and at 20, you're talking $800,000. So, again, you haven't adjusted in 30 years your value when that building, that building's been listed and offers made and other things, and so I have a real hard time with claiming that it's not. There is some functional obsolescence because of the parking lot, but it also includes the parcel across the street, that's Kitty Corner. Is that included in this parcel for sale?
No, that one's actually part of Valentine.
Okay, that's the Valentine one? Okay. So, again,
Neither this one or the Yellowstone had parking.
No,
Plain simple.
no. But a lot of downtown buildings in most areas don't have. And, I mean, but still, to stay stagnant at 3% over 30 years, that's ridiculous. I mean, your cost of inflation is 1.5%. It should have increased 30% over the last 30 years, easy.
And one of the important things too that we take into consideration is, you know, current use. Those upper floors, they're currently offices. If we're talking, if they were converted to apartments, that would greatly increase the price. I mean, when we look at the Bolanos building, it's a much smaller building in not nearly the condition this one's in, but it has rental apartments. It sold last year for I think $475, and it's on the market again in a much better condition than it sold at. So, and so when we talk to appellants, we do say, you know, we're not going to value you at that rate because those are apartments. You
Yeah.
have offices here. It's a completely different market.
Yeah.
And on this one, though, I mean, we haven't made any adjustments for, like you say, forever. I went back and added 30% to last year, so that comes in at $579.33 a night, and then we jump it again the next year. I'm just,
Yeah.
to me, this is a staged one, a little bit different, just because we haven't done anything. Just my feelings on it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fine. You want to make that? I still don't. My computer shut off completely.
On parcel RPPOC290900, so we make an adjustment to $579.33 with the adjustment being made on the improvement. Have a motion, all in favor say aye.
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 How many more do we have on admin? One more? Or is that it?
We have one more,
Okay. I think my computer is refusing to charge or even talk to the battery, so I think it just ate itself.
and actually that admin is for this afternoon,
Let's do that this afternoon.
okay? Do you want to read into the record?
I would just take
Or
this
just-
and I would just label it as Exhibit
A?
1A for the Board of Equalization. We concur that it's Exhibit 1A, and if everybody concurs, the assessor's table, our table, that I would ask the chairman for unanimous consent to have it amended and added to the record.
And along with that, there's this statement that we put in last year's that, let's see, how does it say? If there was a determination made during a BOE hearing and the value conflicts with the values on this list, the parcel will receive the lower of the conflicting values. We have a motion.
Mm-hmm.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That is now part of the record. We will be at recess